And if want, we can do a simple spider exercise on the G string. First fret. Ooh, great finger. There it is. That note on the 4th fret should sound like the open string right above it. They're both B's. And then if want to, put your first finger or second finger on the 3rd fret of the B, and that'll be a D note. And it should be the same as your top string. So the idea is, get one of your sets of strings in order, and then be able to play this chord. We always want to start off trying to learn a chord or a triad as we started off with.
Okay, cool.
Last week we did G major because this is in G major.
Yeah.
We also worked on another chord called C major, which allows us to put our first finger on the 1st fret of the B string, the 2nd string, and then take our finger, second finger, the birdie finger, all the way towards our nose to play the 2nd fret on the thickest string. What do I mean? The D string here has the most girth. The micrometer of it is larger than any of the other ones on this here. And then we're going to take our 3rd finger, our ring finger, and put it all the way up top here on the same D string, but it's up a octave higher. So as you know, this low D string and this high D string make a perfect octave, or a P8. So this is our C major. Excellent. One of the concepts we work on is trying to take these 3 fingers and then play with these 3. Reason being, if you can play this C major, oh, I'm bleeding. If you can play this C major, and then you can move one finger off, put your 2nd finger where your 1st finger was, take your 3rd finger and put it where the 2nd one was, and then bring that little pinky on, that cuchillo, you can play the same triad. Why? Most of these are going to be 3 notes, and then you double up one of the notes. It's either going to be a unison with the root, or it's going to be a unison with the 3rd or the 5th or the octave. So this C major and this C major, when we play it like this, you betcha. No iPhone today. It actually makes a lot of sense that you start to seeing them where your fingers should go and shouldn't go, and then make mistakes, and then figure out on your own whether or not your fingers should make the difference in what you're doing. And remember, you're only a half step off, like Mr. Miles said. So when we're playing something like this, we're simply moving from one chord, C major, to F major, then to G. Now, F major is nothing more than E major moved up a half step. That's just the way half steps work. So that's what we're going to work on today as far as our chords. E major, you betcha. First fingering position if you want. You don't have to, but it feels good to do it in both. When we move it up a half step, we can either do... If want, that's the whole idea. If you just want to cover the one note that wasn't covered, that helps us do something like this. Single note pull-offs. The reason why I suggest bars in the beginning, well, there's this term called a double stop. And a double stop simply references when you have a triad, you use 2 of the notes that are in there. It doesn't always have to be. There are multiple notes inside different scales. Like a pentatonic scale has 5. So anytime you do 2 of those notes together, it generally sounds really super good. That's really cool to do on a banjo. Hear how that note just is a little different than, you could go, and it's a little different than going, how would I do that? Which has a droning G over the top. Right on. So today with our E major, and we're just going to be moving this so we get used to playing our fingers in both ways. You betcha. And then moving it up a half step gives us our F major. You betcha. We'll throw that into a secondary fingering. You betcha. And then drop down that first finger on that fret. And then moving it up a half step. F sharp. Yeah, it's weird, huh? They're just movable. And the idea is not all these need the G up top here. So your practice while thinking about chord construction in the beginning is just ignore the G. You will play it. What happens is you're like, sounds great with an F. Not so great with an F sharp. Perfect with a G. Not great with a G sharp. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Because it builds dissonance.
Yeah.
cool.
Totally.
But inevitably, what we do is we look at this and not having a 5-string, and we view it as another type of banjo. It's called the tenor banjo. It only has 4 strings.
Yeah.
So the concept is most of our chord construction does that, and then when we get past the 5th, you just lay down your finger further for the G. Does that make sense?
Once you're past the 5th fret, then you start playing.
Whatever finger you're using to play the thickest string,
Yeah.
you just use that as an extension to play that G. In a lot of cases. Not all, but a lot.
Like typically you play both with it?
For sure, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why learning a bar chord in the beginning is very kind of interesting, because you could view it as a constant double stop if you want.
Yeah.
But the idea is it allows us to move through the chords without having to change the key or the tuning. And you can, suiting on the song, but that's a whole different concept of modulation and transposing. So what we'd like to do right now is just take that E major up, and then move it up a half step so you got the bar and you're feeling it. It's doing justice to you.
Move up a half step.
Mm-hmm. You
Bar
can. Nice. And then try the other way with just your finger. Cool. Now do me a favor.
Yeah.
Just consciously look at your dots, how you've got 3rd fret, 5th fret, and 7th. Let your first finger be your leader finger, so whenever I say go to the 7th, you lead that all the way up to the 7th.
All the way up.
You betcha. Go. So ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
They're 2 complete whole steps. So that was a whole step. Now do another one. There you go. And then do a whole nother one.
Okay, and then I go there.
Groovy. And with that finger, now that we know that concept, try and cover both the G and the D string with that, just the nub. Little bit of nub. There it is. So the idea, if you take these 2 fingers that aren't on all these and you flip them. Close. Let's go back to that. You ready? Play the E shape, you know. And just to let you know, we have E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. B, for sure.
I got mixed up here.
There we go. So we got our B, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we go up another half step, right after B. Oh, yeah, you're switching, yeah. Yeah. We're seeing how 2 different chords can be made basically with the same shape, but if you oops a doodle, you're making a completely different sound. A little bit of tension is derived there. Anyway, if you're at home and you got questions about what these triads are and how to do this, I urge you to check us out on Tuesdays where we do a little music theory. Matt, unfortunately, won't be there, but I will be there using a big old board pen up here and talking about, hey, this is the X instrument. These are the things we talk about. And then we take questions from anybody who's in the comment section. What we've kind of covered here is we're in the open tuning. We've got GBD, and what we're doing is we're seeing another triad through the eyes of E major, and we're moving that all the way up the fretboard so we can just start calling out different chords and see what the different fingerings are for these different types of shapes. What we're doing right now is we've got this B major. If we take the B major and move it up a half step.
Okay, we got a B major, which means we're doing this.
Move it up a half step. So go up in tonality. There you go. Perfect. One more to the 8th. How's that feel? It is. There's a lot of fingers happening right now.
Yeah, lots of fingers.
I hear it. Keep going. And make sure that you're pressing down on that one and that one so you get that. It is, isn't it? I mean, consciously, this is the key of C, so the 5th of C is G. It does sound good, whether you got it or not. Yes.
Do you like pull the string over?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is when down here it's a little harder because the nut makes it a little harder to press down the strings right there. So learning how to do these things with a bar chord or just finger extensions up the 5th fret like this. Sometimes I do things like this and just work the middle notes. Mm-hmm. And what you're talking about right now is the fingers feel weird. If you continue to do your spider exercises.
Well, no, it's getting both the strings with one finger.
Oh, yeah. And then, as I said, you
like,
could ignore it in the
That's
beginning.
nothing to do with spider exercises, right? Because I'm not putting both of the strings under my finger.
Understood. The only way that it would or wouldn't have something to do with it if you practically saw the spider exercises being single note, and then we're like, okay, well.
Okay, yeah. Now that makes sense.
So honestly, like, we can manipulate that nonsense to do it anything for
totally.
pertaining. So that's a great idea for the week, maybe.
Yeah, that is a great idea.
Groovy. And what are we doing to get the 8th fret? Woo! That's our C major. It's weird, right? And because it's C major, you don't need that top note if you want to keep that G open. But
no, sir.
If it's the struggle that guides you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm here for ya. Hello. Is it me you're looking for?
So I can do it with this finger. That doesn't do me any good. It's the space right here.
Right on. So one of the exercises to actually practice this in its form is Matt's going up to the 8th fret and playing a chord which we're already kind of working down here as being an E major. So what we do is we try to work this E major to an F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and a C. If you hear, the G has been open the whole time. You get used to what chords sound good with that open G, and you try to influence that with your rolls or your plectrum strums. One of the things that I learned was when you put down like a double stop or 2 fingers to go over the top of 2 strings, you're actually covering up that G string and it goes along with every chord. So when playing something like the F major, G, when we get up here we play the A, B, C. The reason why scales aren't because that's way too major. It doesn't allow the ear to go, oh, that sounds pleasing. It just sounds too structured. So when we play different, like E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, then they fit inside chords. So what we're talking about is how to use this chord, the E major, go all the way up to the 8th fret, and then take this 3rd finger and cover both of the strings. And what I like to do is just work on playing the chord with it open, and then try to take that 3rd finger and just smoosh all the chords that are down there. And what that does is it allows you to just play the bottom end of this banjo. Can you do a half-step slide with it like that? Coolness. And you feel how it's an awkward feeling to just have these being pointy, and then the other one being flat. It's just something that we work on going through. So when doing the spider exercises, what I try to think about is, am I playing this flat? Or am I playing it pointy? And when you do it a couple thousand times, you start to articulate over the top. What does that make sense? Over the top like this, or playing them kind of like flattened, like bars.
Yeah, I mean, so I am now realizing that the spider exercise has more layers to it.
Yes.
And I have been doing spider exercises for quite a long time, but I've never once attempted to add any sort of layer to it.
Here's another one. They don't have to be done linearly.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, you get that?
Yeah, I get that, right? You can put them wherever you want.
Cool.
To think about it as like doing a spider exercise where instead I do like a that, right? Or like a...
Yeah, doing...
Or like a... what is this called? What is the...
Where you move the fingies?
No, where you like push 2 strings with 1 finger. Is that called something?
A bar. It's just
bar.
a single finger bar.
A single finger
Yeah.
bar. Even
Some
though it's
people
just
call
two
it a double
strings.
stop, but the
Double
idea is
stop,
you're
okay.
using 2 notes of a said scale or key. Anything
Yeah.
you play on a G major instrument is going to be inside your scale,
Yeah.
either chromatically or diatonically. And what that means is essentially a grouping of 7 notes or a grouping of 12.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh, we have sound.
Yeah,
That's good to know. And there's another person watching. We got a voyeur out there. Tell you what, if you have a question, throw it in the comment section. I got my little doodle now so I can figure out what's going on up in here. Cool. So what we've been talking about is moving this up. We saw Matt do like these half-step slides. But what we want to know now is, hey, do you realize you know how to play C major, C major, and then C major? You know,
Got
3
different
invert.
seasons, yeah.
You
3
do.
different
You got,
versions.
you got it right.
Ooh, this one's the rough one. Though.
It is. It is. But guess what? That's your E major that we were talking about right here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you learn how to play the E major at the first fret, or open fret, first fret, and
Yeah.
second fret, right? Do. You then go up to what? The 8th fret,
Yeah.
the 9th fret, and the 10th fret. Is that right?
I think it's
Checking the cash.
7,
It is. It's all 3 of
8.
those. No, 7 would be B.
7th, 7th,
So 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
And just for the fact that we see that now, what this channel does is explains how to do things through a musical idea and theory to get that brain working. So you can do this on your own. You don't need me. Go to college, spend a lot of money. Either way, it's all in the books and it's on the internet. This is just one resource. I'm just one dude. Come out Tuesday if you want and ask questions. So this concept today will probably be the basis that will take you everywhere because, real quick explanation, when you play the C major and you play it in a secondary fingering and then you move it anywhere and then put down a finger that was missing, you get a chord. So being able to move this finger down and flattening that with this chord or this chord is just the difference between the 2 notes. And those are the 2 types of chords that are derived kind of from that concept. We will have chords that will be augmented. We've got chords that will be diminished. But they're also feelings of how you form your fingers to make these triads. The beginning ones we do, of course, are going to be major. After that, we have minor. The 2 that I afore spoke of are the augmented. And a lot of people don't even get to the augmented because, unfortunately, it's not in a major scale. It doesn't have the same set of gravitas that the diminished does. And if you have any questions about these, it just means that we have a 1, 3, 5. So a G major, G, B, D. If we had a G minor, what do we do to make a major a minor? We flatten the mediant. So that third, or the birdie, a little bit of gas. Just take them down a notch. We're going to go down from a B to a B flat. Because anytime we diminish anything, it's called flattening. Anytime we augment anything, it's called sharpening. So the next one we have here is an augmented. We have a third here. Notice how the A is a capital. And then when I write diminished here, we write it with a lowercase. Because it has a minor third. Anytime you have a minor third, you have a lowercase. Diminished are special. The chord construction is a minor third plus a minor third. Major third plus a minor third. Major plus minor. Minor plus major. Major plus major. And then minor, plus minor. See how it's almost like a puzzle, chord construction? There's only 4 of them.
Yeah.
Groovy. Don't worry about the complexity of all that nonsense.
Yeah,
The only real,
like
right? The only real takeaway is this. If you know that there are 4 types of chords and you're not really even going to use one called the augmented that much, you only need 3.
Yeah.
And gosh darn it, I keep running with it. Diminished, minor, and then major. So getting back, can you play? I never learned how to read. Can you play that E major again?
We could certainly try.
Ooh, let's take it all the way back to the first fret.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Feels like the C, but it ain't. Wait.
Oh, E major just at the first fret, first fingering.
You got it. Now watch this. remove the first finger.
Yeah.
Hear how that just went from a happy kind of sounding chord to like a specific kind of like eerie minor tone out. So what we did was we removed the third as being a B major, and we turned it into a
B.
You betcha. Yeah. So the concept is, if you move that chord anywhere else on this fretboard, you would need to put a bar chord, like right here.
Yeah.
And then skip a fret.
Okay.
And then play the same two notes you were playing. If you were playing the E here like this, then when you go all the way up here,
then you'd skip a chord. Right, so you go to...
Yeah, where are you? 8? So we're doing the C?
8, yeah.
Wonderful. It would have been a major. Skip that finger completely.
Skip it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Pinky up top and then cover both of those notes with that finger.
Oh, yeah.
Flatten it.
Flat.
Squish. Perfect. How's that sound? Nice. That's what's to be expected the first time. Now look at my fingers right here.
Yeah.
Remember the aforementioned spider exercises and how to do that?
Yeah,
so that concept of playing both of those, unless you're going to view this as not a 5 string and start plucking at all of your lowest strings like a tenor banjo and avoid that, which is also a great idea to do. Just be able to avoid the G string, but the concept is you don't want to not hit wrong notes. You want to hit wrong notes so you know how they fit in with everything. So that's the concept of moving open phrasings.
Yeah.
And then when you move into like chord construction like this, you hear what works and what doesn't for your fingers. And then it's it's the clock and hours thing.
Yeah.
Right on. So don't be discouraged. You're doing an amazing job. The concept that we do down here is like if we play the E minor, for those of you if you're watching at home, if you're playing the E minor, it's just like the E major, but we don't have that major third here. We don't have the G sharp. We have a G natural to make a G B D. That is incorrect. G B flat D. Nice. So when we play this, what happens is we're going to take this E minor and this G major here, G, B, D, G, or right? And what we want to do is flatten this note, because just like in E major, that's the one we got rid of. So when we played at the 3rd fret, we need to play the note that's right here on the 3rd fret. Hence, we're going to be playing a bar chord. There are many different ways to do this. Here's one of them. On the 3rd fret, play every note except for the lowest string, the D string. Bar all three down. Now skip a finger, skip a fret, and play the ring finger on the 5th fret on the D string. Put down the pinky up top on the high D string. Beautifully done, dude. The hardest part is having this finger give enough arch so this next note is audible. That is the hardest thing in the beginning. What you'll hear is you'll generally hear like, and that note won't be there. And it's really, in a minor, the most important. What you're doing there is you're turning that major chord into something called a 5 chord. Okay. It's like heavy metal. You get rid of the major or minor so everything works. Speaking of heavy metal.
Oh, really?
Extreme goes up. If you are in Hawaii and you want to attend a metal fest, Green Jelly, not Green Jello, was they're the same band. They just had to change it for copyright purposes. And a plethora of other bands, local and abroad, are going to be playing here on Island. If you have questions, we're going to be doing a free ticket giveaway. Long story short, we would love to see you on next month, the 12th and the 13th in October. Anywho, if you have questions about that, put it in the comment section, and you can reach out to us on any of our emails, like Booking Wago Hanaho or Big Island, tinyfootprint.com. Alrighty here. So, we learned 2 valuable, really crucial, awesome, super groovy things right now.
Yeah, we did.
One of them is all chords
Can be moved.
Doesn't matter where they are. And you also learned today that the difference between a major and a minor is that pesky middle note.
Yeah.
So no matter what key we're in, like let's go up to the 5th fret and play this. Nice. That's what?
C major.
It is. And how do we spell a C major? Knowing that when we see a key signature like this, if we see, like for Banjo, treble clef, and there isn't any sort of clef marking.
Oh man, I have no idea.
Yeah, so here's the idea. The banjo is in the key of G, so it makes sense to put the 1 sharp to be like, oh yeah, F sharp is definitely in the key. It's that
Yeah.
Tito.
Yeah, yeah.
So if we see this as being this C major, C, E, and G, this is what the chords we're playing looks like. C is on the ledger line below the treble clef, E is the bottom line, and G is the clef that the treble clef is in.
Oh.
So just because there's an F sharp, it doesn't mess with C major. It has nothing to do with it, right? But now you see how to turn a C major into a C minor, right?
Yeah, you flatten it.
You got it. E flat, boomity boom boom boom.
And now it's a minor.
You got it. So with the 5th fret, let's do the brain work. Ready? 5th fret has what chord construction? Our lowest string is the D, right?
Yeah.
D, D sharp,
Oh, D sharp.
E, F,
F.
F sharp,
sharp.
and then our one extension finger.
C.
What comes right after F sharp? A, B, C, D, E, F.
A.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
G.
Yes!
Oh, yeah, G.
Cool, that's our G.
G.
So is C, E, and G,
Yeah. Okay.
is that our E or flat? No, we don't have to move that one. So that one stays consistent with all them others.
Yeah.
Now the next string. The next string is the...
This one's a B string, right?
Are you talking about the 2nd string? That's the 3rd string. What's the 3rd string?
Oh, 3rd string.
Hmm? And if need, just name them, because that's the way the brain remembers.
G.
G, D, G,
Oh, G.
B.
Yeah. Oh, it's because these two go together.
Shoots.
Yeah, G.
There you go.
G.
Learn it.
So this is then.
Oh, wah. Nice. What would that be?
Oh, okay. So if this is D, that goes to. Oh man.
That's the
It's
G.
just
That's the
a-
3rd fret. Or 3rd string, right?
A sharp.
So that's a
or
G.
A?
Ooh, G goes to G sharp.
G sharp.
You
okay.
betcha.
Then
Or
A.
it is called enharmonically an A flat.
A flat. Okay.
Which means the next one is A. And that's the A from A major. So just knowing that, can't you just sort of go, well, if this is the A from A major,
Yeah.
A sharp, B, C, then this must be the C from
yeah,
C major.
C, yeah.
Groovy. So now on the 5th fret, we know that we've got a G, a C.
Yeah.
What's the next note? We know that the D at the top string is going to be a G, right?
This next note.
Just top. We know that these two are the
Oh,
same.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah,
know
yeah.
right now that there's only one note we don't know what it is.
Oh, it's got to be E.
It's got to be that E.
Yeah.
It
This
does.
one has to be E.
So through process of elimination, you deduce that, right?
Yeah.
So going from here,
Yeah.
that is making an E flat.
Yeah.
Now
okay.
let's double check ourselves. What string is this? What is the 2nd string?
What is the 2nd string? That's a B.
It is. So B goes directly to B sharp, which
B
is a
sharp,
C.
Yeah.
C sharp,
C. C sharp.
D,
D.
D sharp,
D sharp.
E. And then by the time we're right here at the 5th, E. Now remember how we just said D sharp?
Yeah.
D sharp is E flat.
Yeah. E flat.
Shoots.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. It's this.
So instead of playing just a bar chord at the 5th fret, you now know if you play that one single solitary note, and then the rest of these, you have a C minor.
Oh.
And you're able to express yourself as it being a minor because you now know that a C minor is exactly like a G minor. All we did was we flattened the 3rd. I don't know how to spell. I'm just going to say it out loud. I can't spell. Every time I go to write, my brain... Anyway, I can spell. I think.
So that's C minor.
It is.
Okay. That's,
Now let's learn it everywhere because we just learned how to play our C major, and our C major, right?
yeah.
So here's our C major down below. Chord construction. Where's our 3rd?
There's your 3rd.
Yeah, here we had the 5th. So you can do
Okay.
two things. You could go 5, flat 5, 4.
Okay. I guess I am misunderstanding. What do you mean by 3rd? Like,
Ooh.
yeah.
When we say
okay.
triad, it's the
Yeah,
3rd
right.
note in a scale. So I think one of the most important things that we should do is if we're trying to grasp at this is like,
Yeah.
how many sharps and flats does the key of C major have?
1, 0, zero?
No, nada.
no.
That's why we
Yeah.
teach from C major.
Yeah,
It makes
yeah.
sense to go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. There are scale positions of a prime, which is a major chord.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da. And then there's a subdominant and a dominant.
Yeah.
These two are also major. They're happy. C major, F major, and G major are family of chords. They will always sound groovy together.
Okay.
When we do like a D, E, and an A, those are our
Minor.
you betcha! And then we represent them by these. And then our last one,
Diminished.
you betcha! So the idea is each one of these has a place in the family of how they react.
Yeah, I got you.
So when we're doing something like this, in a normal song, we don't generally go like C, C minor, D, D major, F, F minor, G, A, B, B flat, G. It's just, it's all over the place.
No.
What we do is we like, there's a rhyme and reason for it. So when we're taking any of the chord constructions in the key of C major, we could say, is F minor in the key of C? And you're like, well, no.
No.
There's no flats.
Yeah.
But F major is.
Yeah.
But can you still have like a minor 4? Yeah. So when you see a chord chart written like this, you might see something like it's in the key of G. And then you'll see like one of these chords that'll say like minor 4 and you're like, what?
Yeah.
There's the minor 4. There's no minor 4 in the key of G. It's a major 4. So you would automatically go, well, what's the 4th in the key of G? If C has no sharps,
What's the 4th in the key of G?
C, D, E, F, G. Circle of fifths.
Yeah.
C, D, E, F, G. G has one flat.
Yeah.
That flat is F. So when I say G major, just like C, I have G as my 1.
Yeah.
I have A as my 2, B is my 3, C is my 4, D is my 5, E 6, and then F. These are the happy chords. 1, 4, 5. And saying happy chord is a real understatement because that's not really the way that I view them.
Yeah.
But I do view this one as causing tension, and this one and this one. And this is way too much information, but each one of these fit into something called the major or the minor harmonic progression. These are things that we use to do basic tool writing and chord analysis from the greats. So, in the key of G, when we're saying, cool.
This is E then, is what you're asking, right?
That's a C. Put that finger right there and throw that G.
This one right here?
Well, no, that's a E flat.
Yeah, and then this is.
Oh,
E.
yeah, so yeah.
I'm
if you
answering the question.
Oh,
the
answer,
original
yes,
question.
absolutely. So,
There's
how do you
no
spell
E.
a C major? Is it still a C major in the key of G?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically.
Right? So this right here is what chord in the key of G? 1, 2, 3.
3. So
Cool.
it'd be C.
So this in chord analysis would show me, oh shucks, that is outside the key of G. This is a minor 4th.
Okay.
And your brain automatically goes flatten that meter.
Yeah. So
And then here's the real crux. You're learning where the E is, so it kind of affects every other chord that has a E in it.
Yeah.
And there's only 7, and then 15, and then 100, and then 144, and then 20. No.
Hey, I'm just trying to answer the question about where one of the thirds is.
That's wonderful. We're gonna wrap this question up here, and then we're gonna let everybody get on to their day.
No.
So here we go. Here's this.
Appreciate that, but it's too much.
Right? Here's the C, right?
Yeah, C.
So which one of these was the third?
The third. Is that E then?
Yeah, E.
Yeah, right here.
So we know that the D strings are the same, which means when we flatten the third,
Then-
we're going to need to flatten both of them
Both
thirds.
of those. Okay.
And then what note was open?
G's
G.
open. Yeah.
And then what would this note be?
Okay, so
What
this,
string is that?
This is B.
And then when you sharpen B to a B sharp, it makes a C.
But
So
there's no sharps or flats for C, right?
So
it's
if you
just
play
C.
these two, and you can do this, you could put pinky, ring finger, skip a finger, second finger, and you could play your C minors like this with 3 fingers on. But what I would recommend is learn it that way, but you could also play 1 finger down here and then 1 finger to just cover them. Because you're simply doing the same thing we aforementioned in this lesson. You can use the nub of your finger as a pointy note to cover 2 strings, and it's much easier than having to use 3 fingers. Especially for people that have a standard size banjo and they've got them fat old perfect fingers. I got these little dainty fingers with little nubs. So what I've done is I've worked out these huge calluses, and now I'm able to just push down on it. It builds calluses in the beginning too. Ooh, buddy, there it is. So if you hear that, you can do that with all your different fingerings. Ooh, that's a diminished, my bad.
Oh man, I need to work on this finger.
It is, and now we know what to work on.
Yeah, totally.
Wunderbar. Now, just because we got the process, let's move it on up. We know how to play a C minor here now, right?
Yeah, C minor there. Yeah.
We know how to play a C minor here. You betcha. Squishity squish if you want.
Is it both?
Both the G's, and then you could play down here if you want, but it doesn't matter. G's in there. And then when we go all the way up here, remember this C? It has our C here. So we're using our E major, second fingering, all the way to the 8th fret.
All the way to the 8th fret. This one's weird. Because this one, it's like above, right? It's not. I think this one's my kryptonite.
It's not an easy one. So here we go, ready? 8, 9, 10, 10.
8, 9.
Mhm.
This one gets me because it's like.
It do. Yeah. If we work it all the way back, we can go all the way back to here. We could have something like E, F, F sharp, G,
Yeah.
G sharp, A sharp, B, C.
Yeah.
Maybe? Now, what in here is our minor? So we've got, and here's the thing, while you're naming these with your fretboard, which is hard,
Yeah.
your ear is going, I have 3 chords. One is 1, or 1, 3, 5, or 3, 5, 1, or 5, 3, 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
brain associates, and when you hear it,
So is that our minor chord there? No.
that sounds like the root to me.
Yes.
And little hint, we already learned how to do this with the G major, and this is the one that's hard that you have to wrap your fingers. So when we do it up here, it's quite literally a bar.
Yeah.
And then smooshy smoosh the 9th fret here. No, 10th fret with the
10th,
one
yeah.
finger, you betcha, and pinky all the way up top. And the hard part about it is making sure that you flatten the note and you still get this. Because that note on the 8th fret of the G string is the important one of them.
Okay. This one right here.
Yep. And because we're in C, just nail out that one note there, yeah? You still have that note, I think, doesn't need to be there.
This one.
Uh-huh. But listen to what that note does sound like with this minor. Yeah, so essentially you would have that note,
Yeah.
these 2 notes, and then that top note.
These two.
Mm-hmm.
So both.
And think E minor.
Okay.
Right?
So okay. So it's you switch. Oh, because you move it.
You
up.
betcha. So
So
what you're doing right now, what your
this.
brain just did, it's
Yeah.
thinking in something called the cage system.
Okay.
C, A, G, E, and D. When you move C
Yeah.
anywhere in bar,
Yeah.
it makes another chord.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
you could remove that to make the minor.
Oh.
When you do the
okay.
E, well, that's the one you move.
Yeah.
So your
yeah.
progress is amazing in just a few lessons.
Yeah.
Today's super walkaway is that the third of a chord, when
Yeah.
flattened, turns any major into a minor.
Yeah.
You
gotcha.
will have C major in 3
Yeah.
other chords.
I got some practice work to do.
You got it, but the idea is you don't have to conquer Rome today. And for
No,
those of
but
you who
it's
don't know what
nice
that
'cause I have
colloquialism is, it
more-
means Rome was a city-state and then a monopoly, not a monopoly, a monopolist that basically grew, and it felt like overnight as far as time goes, but it lasted a long time, and then it crumbled. Probably bad to horrible decision-making progress. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed today. Music's super fun. If you had fun too, maybe join us back on, ooh, look at you. Maybe join us back on, keep going. Maybe join us back on Maybe join us back on Tuesday. We're going to be doing music theory. If you have any questions about what transpired here, bring those questions and ask them during the live session. I can't remember what we're talking about this week. It's on the schedule. Check out the channel. And there are 8,000 videos right now. Please go out there and check out some of these. Subscribe, put a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit all those notifications. Super helps us out when you like our videos. Anywho, aloha. Have a great day. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.